I feel like the best rooms are created over time, finding new and vintage pieces you love, testing all the paint colors you're drawn to, moving decor pieces around over and over and over again to find the best home for them until you create a room that feels like home. So let's get started. Welcome to what a room actually looks like when it's being made over. You know, most of the time I remove everything from a room after I've gathered my thoughts and I've played with all of my options, you know, to really show you, let's start with a clean slate and then it just all comes to life. But that's not reality. You start with all the things that you've got, you put them all in one room, you make it really messy. You pull out paint swatches, lamps, furniture, rugs, you get everything in one room and it looks like a bomb went off. Then you start to get somewhere. So that's where we're at. We are in our front room, the first room that you walk into when you enter our house. And it has become a dumping ground because technically right now it is a formal living room. We are never going to use a formal living room, ever. So if you've seen the video I did where I kind of worked through and took you guys along on the journey of figuring out what to do with this formal living room, how we can reimagine our kitchen. The kitchen and the bathrooms is where I want to do a renovation eventually, when we know what we want to do, when we can save money. We're talking like a while down the road, several years. But what do we do with this room in the meantime? Now, on the other side of this fireplace, we have a dual-sided fireplace. We have our living room. And it's so pretty. It's away from the door. It goes out to the back patio and the pool. That is where we spend our time while we figure out what we want to do for this room long term, potentially turning it into a dining room and opening up the kitchen more. I wanted to do some things to make it look more presentable, to actually turn it into the formal living room, make it look designed so that it doesn't become a dumping ground for all of our stuff. We've got some furniture pieces from Castlery. I got these two chairs. They don't have the bottoms on them yet. We need to build all this furniture, but they swivel. So I'm thinking they would be perfect actually in the other room for the TV, you know, so you can turn and watch the TV. And I got another chair like we have in there from Castlery that I love. They're a big set, they're beautiful. Got those two. We have a beautiful couch. So the more my style evolves throughout the years and trends change, I really like to keep my furniture, like the big pieces, really neutral and really traditional and classic. That way it can evolve with me and we can have them for many, many, many years. So I got an amazing couch we're gonna put together from Castlery. A big thank you to them for sponsoring this video as well, because they're going to pair so well with some things that I also found vintage and antique. Look at this cabinet, it's antique actually. It's from France. I got her like a month and a half ago for this entry. I found these beautiful lamps from the flea market this past weekend. We'll kind of see if those work. They just called to me. We'll see if those work in the space or we can put them other places. I found this little vintage chair. I have a rug. If you follow me on my blog channel, you saw this rug. I found it and I loved it. It was on a budget because we're bringing in elements that we want to reuse in different areas of the house or for different makeovers later on when we do turn this into a dining room. This rug was so pretty. I'm hoping that it works. It's a little more icy than I normally like it. I normally like a lot of mood, but I did love it. I love the pattern. And I did look at the flea market for something vintage and I couldn't find anything I liked. I definitely want to strip the paint off the beams to bring back their natural look and the stain that matches the raw beams in the dining room. It's going to add so much warmth to the ceiling too. When there are so many options, you kind of just have to put everything in one room and see where it takes you. You know what I mean? Kinsley clearly loves the couch already. Honey, what are you doing? It's not built yet. You have to get it out. This is actually a really complimenting couch in color to the one from Castlery that we love, which is in our living room. Love it. It's so comfortable. It's got removable cushions, which is great because you can have them cleaned. When you have a light couch, you always want to make sure that you can have them cleaned because it's inevitable something will get on them. So I want to start with putting the furniture together. Let's play around with the layout of the furniture. Here we go again with another living room layout. Remember how many times I laid out and moved the furniture around in our living room at the cottage? This is about to be part 2 in a different room. Also thinking we could make a focal point on the fireplace and paint this part of the fireplace a different color on the wall. I want to know what kind of furniture builder you are. Are you the one that lays all of the tools out together, all of the pieces? Or are you a builder like Romeo that guesses? Do you guess?
Yeah.
Dreamt about a few ways that we could lay this out. One that's stuck in my head is how they had the house staged, that layout. It's kind of hard when you see something to unsee it. And if you guys haven't checked out Casper yet, they really do offer timeless pieces that are really good quality, and they cut out the middleman so that really good quality furniture is more accessible and affordable for us, the consumer. And if you're not sure about a color of a fabric, they offer free fabric swatches. I'm a visual person. I like to see things in person, so if you're questioning a color, you can get a free fabric swatch. Kinsley, you're not a piece of furniture. You don't need the bolt. Kinsley. Good girl. I want to get the rug laid out. Don't know if this rug's gonna work. It's just a rug I have. I'm sure to try it out. It's pretty. It's just ice. They also offer flat rate shipping, warranty coverage, and a 14-day return policy. So if you do get something in and it's just not quite right, you can let them know within 14 days. They're having a Memorial Day sale. So if you've been looking to get something, this Memorial Day is definitely the time to take advantage of their sale. So from now until June 4th, they're doing a tiered sale. So you can use code MaCenna Memorial at checkout. So like for every $2,500 you spend, you get $280 off, and then it tiers up from there. I'll leave the link in my description box for you too, so it's super easy.
It's comfortable.
This couch actually comes in a green gray color that I was so close to getting. It was so pretty. These are so pretty. This is the Colette swivel chair, Colette. This is definitely a better size to go here, you know, on each side of the fireplace. I want to shift it a little bit. I want to put the couch where you are and 2 chairs where you enter, hopefully opening up the space by the door a tad more.
Open over there, not that many people pass through here.
Yeah, that's not our traffic way. We don't walk that way as much as from the front door, you know, so. Space here.
It's almost better here.
Space this way. Space this way. Opens it up too. I can't believe the rug looks so good with the color of these. This is all planned at different times and curated, because I feel like the best rooms are kind of like done over time, where you can really find pieces that you really like. And I love mixing like new and old and vintage and new like modern kind of design, like styles. All kind of blended together. I also have a coffee table that needs some work. This is a much better layout. Look at this coffee table. Sure willpower is allowing me to pick this up right now because I wanted it in here. Okay, she's very rough around the edges. She actually looks like she might have been outside for a while. She's also very low. I feel like there's so many things that we could do. I got this coffee table for $100. Solid wood. Definitely older, no markings on it really. She needs a big gulp of moisture. I can like condition her. We could even stain it. You know, like now that we're getting all the elements in here, we can kind of figure out what needs to happen. I'm actually really enjoying doing this makeover this way. It's like flipped. It's like, let's start with the stuff we have. It feels very free. I just find things I really like and put them together. Another option, if this coffee table is too wide, for this room, we've been wanting to update the coffee table in the living room we use a lot. And I have these 2 nesting tables that we could turn into a coffee table. They're more compact for sure. We can find some pretty toppers for them, like some stone, like circle stone or something. These might be actually be really pretty in here. Okay, let's talk about like the entrance here. Something that this living room is seriously lacking is afternoon and evening sun. There's not a lot of overhead kind of task lighting, which I'm not used to. I've got 2 bright lights, bouncing light in here so that you guys can really see me. This is how warm it really is. Now you're coming up a little darker actually. The feeling when you're actually living in light that's dimmer is so wonderful. But what we did need to bring in here is lighting elements, not attached to the ceiling. Even though a chandelier would be beautiful in here. That may be something that we do when we do the dining room though. A chandelier would be gorgeous. And one of the reasons I wanted to create this entryway is that we come in, you know, and put our stuff down. So when I saw this antique French, it's actually what they call the vanity. Now, it could have been maybe, I mean, there's no drain. It could have been a dry sink. Could have been that. But I don't know how that would work. You could have a vessel sink on it, but there's no drain. So I don't think it was used as a vanity. I love the tone of the wood. I really wanted to go a direction of like French provincial or like, you know, more of an English cottage, French provincial, some in that direction. So I thought it was gonna be perfect here. When we were at the flea market yesterday, I found these lamps. I Google lensed them, kind of did a little bit of research and determined that I'm 98% positive that they are Frederick Cooper lamps. They are solid marble, you guys. They're about, I'd say like 45 pounds or so. They are stunning. The shade is teal, double brass little turn-ons. And have you ever seen a lamp where you can raise the height of the harp? Because these you can. Now you could think that this is totally not my style, but what this looks like is the beginning of Art Deco. You were still in the 20s that wasn't Art Deco, going into the Gatsby era, if that makes sense, like going Art Deco. And they were somewhere in between and they looked quality. So let's see the difference that the lights make in here. But you wanna know a horrible thing? There's no plug on this wall. There's no plug. Now granted, I'm a little bit of an electrician. I can totally jump a plug and make one. I've already looked in the kitchen and I can jump one from there. So we're gonna have to go to the hardware store and get some supplies. I will have to make a hole in the wall, but we'll have a plug where we need a plug. I was supposed to say, I'm like, he did say that they worked. Based on my research, they were a style that they had in the 90s. I emailed the company and to see if they knew exactly when these were made. I mean, look at the difference in the lighting in this room. Now, I'm gonna turn the lights off again so we can see. It feels like a home. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just, love these, love, they're different. I have this little chair that I got from the flea market too. I got her for $30. There was two guys that knew a lot about art, a lot about furniture, where it was from. He said based on what he can tell, it's made out of yellow pine. The details on the back of it were just like so cool for 30 bucks. You know what I mean? He said that it was American made. So it was definitely from here, probably somewhere in the South. There's this little space over here. Excuse the stretched cord here. This is a work in progress. So I have this little space here. We have a couple options. We could put a pot with a tree, but this is also the walkway. So we have about 15 inches, which is still possible to put a pretty tree. Okay, now that we have all of the elements that I've collected, besides little decor pieces, how do we transform this space? It looks good already. It looks so cozy. So one, definitely need paint. I cannot stand these walls being white anymore. I want to warm it up. Since it doesn't get a lot of sunlight in the afternoon, evening, I don't want to go super dark, but I do want to go warmer than white. So I just went to the paint store and got some swatches of kind of lots of different colors. And as I'm thinking about the house as a whole, I want each room to be sisters, family members, you know, but be unique or different, you know, than each other. In the kitchen, before we renovate, I was thinking about doing this strong influence color. It's kind of like an aubergine black. It's like a purple, brown black. Because we're gonna go daring, because why not? We're gonna be changing it anyways. We might as well experiment and try some more daring things out. So I want to do this color. And I've actually used this color before, which is Haven of Coziness. And these two together looked really pretty. And I also got Natural Cream by Benjamin Moore. Now it is a lighter color than Haven of Coziness. It doesn't have the green undertone that Haven of Coziness has. It has a little more pink, which now in this space I don't think I'm gonna love, but I wanted to sample both of them to really see which one was going to look good. Okay, we've got a lot of lights at play here. We've got some warm overhead lights. These are more soft lights, and then we've got the daylight. So we've got a lot of different hues of light happening. But I want to see the, Kinsley, did you step on the paint? Kinsley, let me see your paws. I swear there's a paw print, but she doesn't have any paint. Doesn't that look like a paw print? Right there. Left is Natural Cream by Benjamin Moore. It's got, like I said, more pink undertones, and I can notice that from the sample. This one, Haven of Coziness, has more green. Now, I tend to gravitate more green. I always do. Now, these lampshades are teal. You know, it's just gonna be an interesting kind of pairing. I need to see both of them at all times a day. Here they are over on this side. I'm definitely leaning more towards Haven of Coziness, but I kind of knew that I would. I think it's going to make a big impact even though it isn't very dark, and I love moody. We can bring in some moodiness in the fireplace. We could paint it black, like just the mantle, this part, and this detail here around the brass. So I feel like everything is white, you know, and there's the only warmth comes into play on the flooring. So the windows, all the windows are white, and I have thought about painting them black like we did in the cottage, but I actually really like that they're white. I just don't want the walls white, so I feel like that could be our contrast rather than going darker on the windows itself. The front door when you walk in is black, and I definitely want it black on the other side. Because I think it would make it more highlighted. I even had a dream I painted the front door cornflower blue. It was actually very pretty. But I feel like black on the inside would look really nice. So back here on this wall above the entryway table, I think it would be beautiful with the gallery wall. I can pull out all of the art that I've been collecting, that my mom has painted me, and also I've been collecting from flea markets and stuff, and we can do a gallery wall here. So this is how you obviously go upstairs. This, I want to do something cool. I actually would love a gallery wall on this side too, so we need to pick. Is the gallery wall going to go above the stairs, or is the gallery wall going to be in the entrance? I feel like it would look good both places. This would be like stunning. I also want to add some interest to the stairwell. I feel like there's just a missed opportunity. I'll put in a few inspiration pictures that I absolutely love of more details like below the steps here. And I'd love to give some interest to this wall. We could do like some board and batten or wood detailing. Obviously all painted the same color, but just to add some interest. Over on this side, we have a beautiful bay window. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I really don't want to block any of the sunlight. So I've been thinking about window treatments, and we have lots of privacy, so it's like I don't really need window treatments for the purpose of privacy, and I don't want to block the sunlight, so I've been kind of like foregoing the idea of putting any curtains here, although I feel like it would be really beautiful. I also see a beautiful real tree here for Christmas, and just having our tree frame this window. I am a tree. And then of course, decorating over the fireplace would be beautiful. There is one other thing that I would love to do that I want to get your opinion on because it's a little bit daring. The openings in our house are squared off at a kind of angle. Now, I don't love that. And the cottage was so angular and so squared off that I couldn't introduce any arches. It didn't fit this style. Here, what if I just softened, I feel like they're too harsh. You know, I kind of want to soften the edge, not make it full on arch to where we're bringing and closing in the entrance, but just cutting off this little part here, like just curving it out. I feel like that would be so cool, and I feel like it actually would be pretty easy. I don't want to mess with the header above the archway. I don't want to do that. So I would have to come on the inside, which is fine. But I would just kind of like attach some 2x4 pieces here, cut with my jigsaw, cut some 1/4-inch plywood for each side and plaster it. It would actually look really good, and it would soften those corners. Now I would have to do it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're gonna be taking that down. I would just have to do it 3 times. Gosh, I feel like I should. So I have made a list for the hardware store of the things that I need. And then I'm gonna look at these two swatches in the morning, overnight, without these lights on, and determine which direction we are gonna go. And then early in the morning, we are gonna get started painting.
Oh,
I love this. It looks like a room.
Oh, so I'll keep turning it around till I